Okay guys, we are going to talk about the third quarter research project, and you're going to get a bunch of handouts and information today, and the hope is that when you leave you know exactly what you're doing for the next 2 weeks. So today what we're going to do is first talk about your role, your job, what your grade will consist of. I'm going to talk to you about the expectations, a scoring guide, things like that, and you'll look at a sample. And then tomorrow you'll start in the library and begin your research, and the librarians will help you with that as well. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is what your job is. Okay, so your job is that you will create 2 slides for a PowerPoint. You will find 2 online sources of research. You'll present that research, those 2 slides, to the class, and you'll turn in a typed works cited. Okay, so those are your 4 jobs. That is your 4 responsibilities, and the grade is independent. So yes, you're presenting as a group because you're sharing a similar topic, but your grade is entirely your own because you're creating different slides, you'll have different research, and you'll have different works cited pages. So today, like I said, we're going to look over some expectations, and then tomorrow you will meet in the library. So the first thing that I want us to go over is the timeline of dates. So if we can pause it and then pass those out, and then we'll come back and I'll explain. Okay, so let's take a look at the daily plan. Let me zoom into this a little bit here. Okay, so here you see today's at the top, the 13th. So I'm going to break down this project for you, and we're going to do this research, your PowerPoint, the works cited, and then you'll present. And then after that, in about 2 weeks, week and a half, we'll start the novel, and then you'll write your essay after we finish it. So like I said, we're going to review some scoring guides. I am not going to necessarily show you this right this second. I have an alternative PowerPoint. And then you'll choose your top 3 choices before you leave today. Tomorrow, you'll meet in the library. These are the items that the librarians are going to go through with you. So the first thing that will happen is that you'll find out which groups you are in and which topic you're going to be doing. You're going to create and share a Google account and your presentation page, and you also will be sharing that with me, and I'll be watching to see how your project is progressing. You'll see the assignment page, a couple how-to videos, some database videos, how to create the citation works cited page, and the guideline sheet for MLA. Okay, the librarians are going to give you all of that information, and the best part I would say is right here, the assignment page, because you can access that from home anytime and see all the videos, and all of the information will be there in case you forget something. Okay. The next thing is days 3 to 6, and we will be in the library doing the actual research. So the only little hiccup is on the 20th, if everybody would look at that on your page. On 1/20, we're going to be going to guidance for your registration. So instead of meeting in the library, you can just meet in the classroom for your attendance, and then we'll walk down to guidance. And there will be some computers or iPads for you to work there while you're waiting to be seen by your counselor. But other than that, you've got the 14th, which was our day to kind of front load everything, and you'll get all your information. And then you've got the 15th, the 19th, and the 21st to do that research. And I think most of you are going to find out that's a lot of time to find just 2 sources with lots of information. Okay, day 7, which is on January 22nd, you'll be up in the classroom and you'll be practicing your PowerPoint presentation with your group. That's really important because some people are more comfortable than presenting than others, and so if you just sit up there and wing it, and maybe your partner does, has prepared their presentation, yours is going to kind of stand out as being unprepared. So that's a day where you guys will go through your slides and read through them and kind of take a dry run of that presentation. On Monday the 25th, everybody's project is due. It'll be shared with me, so I will just take them off of Google at that point and then store them on my desktop so that you won't be making any changes after the 25th. That will probably take us 2 days, though, to present. But the important thing to remember is you have 2 things due. So on Monday, you're going to have those presentations start, and I'm going to share them to my desktop. But the really important part is the works cited, that you don't forget that you have to turn in a unique individual typed works cited. Okay, that has nothing to do with your group. That's entirely your own. Okay, so that's our plan, and you can see it's pretty well mapped up. I think you're going to do just fine with that. Okay, so the next thing I want to look at is, here, let's do this. If you would flip that over, let's look at the sample works cited. So a works cited, a typical works cited, guys, doesn't have this information because it's attached to a research paper. But you're turning in a single piece of paper. You're not turning in an essay with a works cited. So because of that, you do need to put a heading. But in a normal works cited, when it's attached to an essay, you do not use your typical header. You just have a title and a page number. But you're only going to have 2 sources, so this will only take 1 page. So you'll do the proper heading. It's all right there for you. You'll do your title, which is not bolded or underlined or anything like that. And then you will include your sources. Now, lots of students do more than 2 sources because to fill 2 slides with only 2 sources, you might need some more information. And so anything you use on that PowerPoint has to be cited. You don't want to plagiarize. So my suggestion would be, first, make sure that you have a reliable web source, and make sure that you have a reliable database source. Again, the librarians will walk you through that. But after that, you can add any other source that you find. And don't forget that on your PowerPoint slide, you need to add underneath your images where you got them. So if you got them from Google, underneath your images, you'll need to put Google Images because you have to give the source. So I'm going to repeat that so you can write it down. Underneath any image you use in your PowerPoint, you need to make sure and write down where you got it in small print. So Google Images or something like that. Okay, so now let's take a look at the scoring guide. So you can see that it's entirely an individual grade. Okay, so you're going to get graded on the information in slide 1 and the information in slide 2. And it says evidence of genuine learning, and that means that you didn't just go out, copy and paste information and then just present it. That you actually show that you learned some new information. Then you'll be graded on the actual style of the slide, the visualization. And so it needs to have, to get an A, at least 4 images, and you can see it goes down from there. 4 images are used, they're thoughtful, they are related to the topic, and you kept us informed and entertained because it was a catchy slide. Okay, and then you're going to get scored on your actual presentation, that it was well rehearsed, that you held our attention, and that it was at least a minute long. So you talked about 2 slides, each about 30 seconds. And then you're also scored on eye contact. If you want to bring in a little note card to read off of, that's fine. Just make sure that you're not reading off of it like a script. Okay, and then if you go to the back page, this is how you're scored on the works cited. And you can see it's a separate grade. So there'll be 2 grades in the grade book. There'll be a grade out of 20 for the works cited and a grade out of 60 for the PowerPoint slides and presentation. So it's an 80-point grade, okay, really close to an essay grade. Basically in here, your source is reliable. It's not Wikipedia. It's not a blog. It was cited properly. This is really important. It's in proper MLA, and that it was on a citation slide at the end of your PowerPoint, and in the I don't know why this is group, in the typed document. Okay, So all that means, guys, is that at the end of your PowerPoint, you have one slide where everybody just kind of pastes in their source. Okay. You can see it goes down from there. So if you're missing, incorrect font or just something's missing, you're going to get an 8 out of 10. If the website's sort of shady, not totally sure if it's reliable, or if you just didn't format it correctly, it goes down to a 6. So what's really, really important for the Works Cited is that you follow format and that you pick reliable sources. In order to make sure you do that, you're going to get this document while you're researching. Oops. And what this document does is it asks information about your Google source. So we know that your database source is reliable because we pay for those. But the Google source that you're kind of randomly searching, sometimes those aren't always reliable. So you'll be filling this out this week as you do that, and that is for, I believe it's for 10 points. So we can make sure that your source is reliable. So the last thing I wanted to look at is the topic choices. So if you want to hit pause, we can talk about that. Okay, it says below are the topic choices for the unit. You'll be put in groups according to your top 3 choices. Your group must cover all the bullet points in the box. Once you begin researching, make sure all members document all sources for an individual typed Works Cited. So our first topic choice is F. Scott Fitzgerald. This is the author. If you select this one, you'd be researching his biographical information, his relationships, his lifestyle, and how he influenced other authors. If you choose Prohibition, you will research what that is, why it started and when it started. You'll explain what speakeasies are. You'll talk about the constitutional amendment, political tactics that were used to pass that amendment, tactics that were used to get around Prohibition, and propaganda that was used. And in the past, groups have found really cool images to show that propaganda. You could also choose Modernism. Modernism is the era, like right now we were learning about realism. Gatsby is technically in modernism, so your group would present about the literary era. There are major beliefs of modernists you would talk about, similar to what we talk about when we look at our chart. And you write down information in your chart. What was this era a reaction to? Who influenced the writers? What were the different elements? And what were some famous artists, excluding the one that we're having another group talk about? And then you need to talk about the Harlem Renaissance. The next option is women's rights. That's all about voting and suffrage, NAWSA, the constitutional amendment, the progression of events, flappers, and famous women of the era. Again, this is another great one for really cool images for your PowerPoint. And then we've got the mobster topic, which is all about some famous mobsters, famous mob events, cities that had strong mob ties, and political influences of the mob. You could choose post-World War I America. You would tell us about how America had changed politically, economically, what was going on with the stock market pre-Great Depression. You could talk about the communism, Red Scare, the development of that. You could also talk about social and economic changes after the war. Okay. The last choice is culture, and what you would talk about is the 1920s culture. So art, music, fashion, sports, entertainment, inventions, technology, and again, lots of cool images for that. But you would talk all about the culture of the time. Okay, so now what I want you to do is take a few minutes and look over this. And on a half sheet of paper, put your name, write number 1, 2, 3, and what your first, second, and third choices are for topics. And when you come in tomorrow to the library, you'll find out which group you're in and who your group members are. Once you find that out, you're going to divvy up these bullets, okay? So remember, you got to fill 2 slides of information. So I don't know if just one random bullet about speakeasies here would do that. Like, you'd have to double up on some things because you want to make sure you fill that 1-minute time frame for your presentation and that you have 2 slides that are full of information and cool images and things like that. Okay? The last thing we're going to do today after you give your choices is look at the quick little video about how to create a really nice looking and informative PowerPoint.